Okay, guys, I think we can begin. First of all, thank you for coming. Thank you for your interest in the topic. Before I start, I need to make two disclaimers. First thing, the presentation is going to be in English. And the second thing, this is not a step-by-step guide for how to start a school. I'm not going to talk about. I'm not going to give you a business plan. So you listen to my presentation, then go home, start a business, and earn a lot of money and be as rich as God. No, it's not going to happen. Yeah, it's not what presentation is about. It's about how start a school, but mainly I'll focus on some philosophical, maybe methodological issues. Okay, so first of all, before we start, you can find some information about me and more about how I did it on the Actual Fluency podcast. This is with Chris Braham. He's president of the conference. He has a lot of interviews with other polyglots. So it has more like 150. So there is an interview with me. Yeah, we speak about different things there, but still about school, how to do business in teaching, and you can go there and you can find me. The episode is 124. I'm gonna write it on the board. But you should check all the other episodes of the podcast. I really enjoyed it. Okay, so before we go to the main topics, to the main ideas of my presentation, I want you to give my background. So how I came into career and what did I before. So the main idea is like from 2008 to 2014, I was working in my PhD. I have a PhD in linguistics. In the field of lexicology, I'm a former university teacher, a lecturer, and an interpreter. So I worked at a translation department. I worked as a freelance interpreter, as a conference interpreter for these years. Yes. And then in 2014 and 2016, I was teaching in China for 2 years. So I took like 2 gap years. And I went to China, and in 2016 I came back to my home country, which is Ukraine, and I wanted to go back to my university studies, but then I changed my mind. So in 2016 I started my own language school. Yes, and from 2014, so before 2014 I spoke only 2 languages, foreign languages, I mean English and German. But since 2014, I have added Chinese, Spanish, Esperanto, and Polish. Yeah. So what should you know about my school before you ask questions? First, I own a school in a small town with a population of probably 10,000 people. And this is the only school in my hometown. And I have approximately 100 students. And I'm the only teacher. I am. So I manage all 100 students by myself. I don't have any other teachers. I don't have any other managers. I don't have a secretary. I don't even have a cleaner. All the things is done by myself. Yeah. I hired once a cleaner, but I was dissatisfied with her service, so I had to fire her. Yeah. Now I do all the cleaning by myself. Well, yeah, but it's what teachers do. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, this is, I manage, so I teach in groups, so I have approximately 14 groups. Every group has from 6 to 8 students, not more and not less. And this is the group size. The age is from 8 from 8 years old to 15, so I don't teach adults. Previously, I taught adults. I mean, at the university, I taught English major students. But no, I just refuse to teach adults. Maybe I'll later explain why. Then, yeah, this is about school. So the size, I teach English mainly. So 99% is English and 1% in Chinese. It means like I have approximately 99 students. I teach English, and I have 1 Chinese student. It's one-on-one. Yeah. Good. So what is the main idea of my talk? So if I hadn't been a polyglot, I would have been a different language teacher. Third conditional. This is the first time this year I used third conditional. I hope you use it right. All right. And now just another idea came to me. Like, if I had known that so many people came to this presentation, I would have made a much better presentation. All right. Good. So I'm going to talk because before 2014, before I started my polyglot journey, I was a different teacher. But after 2014, when I started learning other languages and discovering all the world of polyglots and how polyglots do things, I changed my methodology and I changed my way how I teach. Yeah? And now I'm going to talk about these things. What changed? What changed in me? So first of all, textbooks. I mean language textbooks that we use. When I started learning languages, I usually don't use textbooks. I don't use SML. I don't use teacher. I use them, but I found them not boring, but sometimes a bit complicated, sometimes a bit too easy. So I don't use them. I don't say that they're bad, but I'm not using them. So that's why I decided in my school not to use textbooks. First reason. First reason is because children come from regular schools, and in regular schools, the children have books. They already have textbooks. And when they come to my school, they have to get a textbook. Yeah? So again, they have to buy, and children usually, well, at least in my country, they think that books are boring. I mean, textbooks are boring at school, so they don't really enjoy them. Yeah? So they want to come to my classes and not do textbooks, not to see them. Yeah? This is first reason. The other reason why I don't use textbooks is because they're not very flexible. You have a curriculum, you have to follow. Well, you can jump some of the topics, but it doesn't give me more freedom, yeah? I have still to follow the book, yeah? You have students' book, I use some of the books, but sometimes I use just the audio, the transcript, maybe some text, but not the full book, yeah? For example, when I learned Polish, I didn't use the Polish SML book, but I used the Polish SML audio, yeah? Because Polish SML book, it seemed like reading is very easy, but listening was okay. I mean, I listened without transcript. Yeah. The other thing that I don't use textbooks because of some of the words there are useless. I mean, you open an elementary textbook. Sometimes what you can find there is like when you begin a lesson and then you have vocabulary like school supplies, and you have all the school supplies like sharpener, stapler, scissors, or like food, all the types of berries, all the types of fruits, and because when you start a language. Or especially the first language, it's very difficult for you to learn new words. Yeah, when it is a first language for your first foreign language, and you've learned. So the first words in your first foreign language, they are very difficult to master. So I understand this. So when the textbook gives you like learn 20, 30 fruits and vegetables. It's too much. I realize as a polyglot, I know it's difficult because when I started learning English or when I started learning Chinese, I knew that 20, 30 words, it's too much to learn in just one day. So for this reason, I decided not to use like these lists. So I decided just to, you don't need, when you begin to learn to speak a language, you don't need like fruits and vegetables. You can say this and that, yeah? Or when you speak about tools, you don't need to say like a scissors. You can say it's a thing which you use to cut. So I prefer to teach them only grammar for relative clause. So if they don't know the word, they can explain it. Or if it's a fruit, they can say it's a fruit and it's a color. Yeah. So they can describe a word. They don't need to learn all the words, but they can learn the useful words like this, that. The words that will help them to speak, at least start a basic conversation and understand it. Yeah, so this is textbooks. I don't say they're bad, but I'm not using because in my conditions, I decided not to use them. Next thing. As a polyglot, I discovered a lot of apps. Yeah, before that, when I was teaching at university, I knew nothing about apps. Well, I didn't have a phone at that time, this type of phone. I was poor, yeah. Now I'm richer. Okay, and yeah, so I use most of these apps, not most, but my favorite is Duolingo, Enki, and Memrise. Yeah, and I use them on the regular basis when I learn different languages. Yeah, for example, Memrise. And I use Memrise in my school because you can add your own course. Yeah, here you can see the logo of my school. Yeah. And I like Memrise, and when I was at Polyglot, when I was using Memrise to learn languages, I realized that it's a good tool to use to teach, because I created this course, I added all the words that you need for kids. This is actually for kids, 7 to 9 years old, yeah? And it has like 30, 40 topics, yeah? And what's perfect about this, it has a leaderboard. Yeah, it has a leaderboard, so I can track the students' progress. Yeah, so if they did it, so I can check. Okay, you did it. Okay, you didn't do this. Later, I'll talk about this. Why I need this leaderboard. Yeah, so yeah, Memrise is cool. I add words, I add audio, I add pictures. Yeah. It's easier to add. I know Enki can do the same thing, but in Enki you don't have the leaderboard. Yeah, and it's difficult to check if you did it or not. So Memrise is perfect. You add words, and you have this fine app, and yeah, the kids and the children, they like apps. So you know that now kids are obsessed with apps, yeah, on their phones, and they like apps. So it's cool. It's better. At school they don't have an app, and in my school they do. Yeah. The other thing, this is, you know, it's Duolingo, but do you remember this? This old Duolingo, I like it better, where you have the strong and weak, yeah? So you had to review when spaced repetition was integrated in Duolingo, yeah? Okay, do you remember this or not? This old Duolingo. Do you know Duolingo? English? Okay, so for example, this one, gold, it means that it's reviewed, it's fresh, yeah? Now it's not. Now it's Duolingo is different, but I still use it. Okay, and this one, I mean, I have to review it. Yeah. So you really don't remember this. Okay, so it means that medical. So I have to review it someday. Yeah, because I haven't reviewed it for a long time. So then I thought, how can I use this in teaching? Yeah, because this is spaced repetition, right? So I need an interval to review something. How can I use it in teaching? So then I came up at least a simple solution, but it needs improvement. But I did the following. I have an Excel file, and here I write the date. This is like May, yeah? And I write the plan, what we did, what topics, what grammar topics and vocabulary topics we discussed. For example, 18th of May, we did illnesses, right? And this was a class about illnesses, right? But if I look, for example, in February, we did verbs in summer, or we learned, okay, so what do we have? Verb collocations, yeah? We learned some verbs. So I look at this, and then I see, okay, we haven't reviewed, for example, we haven't reviewed action verbs. Okay, so we should do, the next class, I should do the review of action verbs, because we did we did the action verbs like 2 months ago, so now it's according to Duolingo like this, you have to review it. So it's spaced repetition, in teaching. I did the same thing when I was learning Chinese. I booked italki sessions, and I asked my tutor, okay, today let's talk about transport today. And the whole class we talk about transport. The next class, okay, let's talk about food, and we talked 1 hour about food. And the third class we talked about some other topic, like our Ukrainian traditions. Then, like maybe 2 or 3 months, I book another italki teacher in Chinese, and I talk about transport again with her, the same topic, but I review it. And I'm more proficient, for example, in topics of transport. Yeah, I need transport because I travel in taxi a lot, and I said, okay, I need transport because I talk with taxi drivers. So I should know more about transport so I can talk with a taxi driver. Yeah, but did you change the winter tires? Yeah, or shall I get off the taxi and walk because you have summer tires? Anyway, good. So this is what I integrated. I know it's not perfect because it's not automatic. I'm not very friendly with programming, so I have to do it manually. I have to, okay, where was it reviewed, so I can integrate it, I can review it. Yeah, this needs improvement, I know. Good. The next thing that I realized is language tests. I'm a strong opposer of language tests. Yeah, I come from educational background. I'm a university teacher, and I used to be a university teacher. And what is... to check the time. At that time, before 2014, I thought that tests are great. Yeah, this is the only way you have to prove that you know the language. Yeah. This was before 2014. But then after 2014, I had my HSK4 test. I was very worried if I passed it or not, but I just passed it freely. It was so easy. I thought I could pass HSK5, but I passed it so easy, but I couldn't speak Spanish that well. So HSK4, it means like B2, Chinese B2. No, I'm not B2. Speaker of Chinese, but the certificate says that I am. So then I realized that no, probably this is not. If you need a certificate, language certificate, you should go it. And I have some students, one-on-one students, which I prepare for IELTS or independent testing in Ukraine. I do because this is a requirement. But I don't think this is the ultimate goal. Yeah? I'm not in favor for language exams because you can be trained for it. You don't need to know the language perfectly, but you can know the strategy. So it's all the problem of strategy, how to pass the tests. Good. The next thing that I want to talk, this is about Enki. I used Enki for learning Chinese. Do you know Enki? Raise your hand. And I was like, oh, okay, good. I don't need to explain what is Enki. Right. So when I use Enki, I use Enki and I use it mainly. I use it for sentences and patterns. So I took a pattern in Chinese, for example, some negation or question, and I worked with patterns. I tried to change them, and then I came. How can I use it in the classroom? How can I use these ideas to teach? So I came up to the solution, and this is this. For example, we have the first pattern. For example, when it's weather, I hobby. So underline words, you have to insert the word. This is a sentence for like 8 years old kids. So this is actually sometimes it's always their homework, these patterns, yeah? And they have to insert words here. For example, when it's sunny, I go swimming, yeah, and or some other words with weather. So in this way, they review the weather. Sometimes, for example, we learned like weather is a new topic, yeah, and hobby we learned 2 months ago. So for their homework, there is a spaced repetition, yeah. So they have to review. They're learning weather now, yeah. But 2 months ago, they have to review the hobby, yeah. And the sentences has to be related. You cannot say when it's freezing, I sunbathe, yeah. Or when it's freezing, you sunbathe. Yeah. So if students make a mistake, it's no homework. Yeah, I said no homework because you didn't think. You have to think when you write, right? You have to understand everything. Or the other, like when traditional grammars teach you grammar, you have grammar books, right? And you have vocabulary books, yeah? 2 separate books. Sometimes they're not related. So usually I found out that the books, the grammar or the vocabulary books, they teach you grammar, but they don't teach you the words that you can use with this grammar. Yeah? For example, you relearn present simple. But what words do you use with present simple? Well, you use daily routine, right? I get up at. Or present simple, you use about universal truth, like the sun goes around the earth. All right, forget it. Good. Good. And yeah, and I try to match grammar. So when I give students introduce grammar, I introduce also the vocabulary that they can use, and I do use it with patterns. For example, when we learn second conditional, yeah, we learn the new topic, second conditional, unreal possibility. So I ask them as a warm-up, I ask them to write the unlikely event that will happen with you, like pass a test, yeah, or win a lottery, yes, or do homework, yeah. So unlikely events, yeah. And then they have to, and then I introduce. So they brainstorm it, yeah. And then I ask them to, and then this is a lead into the conditional one, because this is the impossible events, and then I introduce them. First, I introduce the vocabulary that you can use, and then I introduce them to this grammar topic. Or for example, I sometimes try to match very unrelated grammar and topics. For example, the last one, if, why, personality, I would, action, it means verbs. So if I were smart, I would do homework, I don't know, some sentence like that, yeah? So in these are the patterns that they use, and they are used for homework, yeah? And I'll talk about homework later, the amount of homework, yeah? Because it's gamified, yeah? So for every group, I have different homeworks. I think of them before the class, I write them in my lesson plan, and I also include them. This homework also goes, where is that? Also goes here in this Excel file, probably somewhere this column. Yeah. So I remember what they did, which homework they had, which sentences for review, which pattern they had, so we can review them in future. So I keep record of it. Yeah. I never did it before 2014. Okay. Next one. The next thing I'm going to talk about background knowledge, or as in linguistics, we say intralinguistic knowledge and extralinguistic knowledge. It means that intralinguistic, this is what we know about the language, and this is extralinguistic knowledge, this is what we know about the world, yeah? How the world, so we learn a language as a cognitive aspect, yeah? We learn the language and we learn the world, yeah? So when I teach kids, I try to teach them also something about the world, some information, yeah? For example, when we learn food, yeah? We all like food. It's dinner soon, okay? And you can brainstorm words, right? Or just like the list of words, but I ask them to write the food in 3 columns, like protein, carbohydrates, and fats. And this way, they learn this. Actually, they were 10 years old, and they were not really good at it. They only know that fat, salo, who ate yesterday, I know, this is 100% fat, right? So, but still, they learned something that they knew that this product is full of carbohydrates, and meat is full of protein, and they learn new things. Or another thing, when we learned health problems or illnesses with a bit older kids, we have health illnesses and ask them to do the following warm-up activity. So at the top of the board, I wrote like not serious illness. So for example, a cut, yeah, and serious illness, I wrote AIDS, and they have to range them from a less serious illness to a more serious illness. So they had to think also of the meanings of the words, not just simply put the words without knowing them, but they have to compare them. Okay, is it more serious? Is it less serious? Yeah, yeah. Or this is usually my warm-up activity. It's not the main class. Yeah, just for the reviewing the vocabulary, and then we have the main class, maybe some grammar points. We match, for example, illnesses. Like we make some also a pattern when I do homework. I have headache when I do homework. Yeah, they remember these patterns, and they do this for homework. And sometimes in class, yeah. Sometimes I show them two flashcards. One flashcard with activity, and one, for example, with like hobby, with activity, like doing homework, and the other one with the illness. I show them two pictures, and they have to make a sentence like when I do homework, I have a headache. Yeah. Or when I eat hot dog, I had diarrhea. Okay, you do usually in Ukraine. Okay. Yeah, sad story. Okay, next thing. When I was learning a language, and I was very cautious about how to use my time. Yeah. When I was in China, I had a lot of time, but still I had to structure it and to make it more effective. So I tried to Google what can you do for time management, yeah, and I came, you know it, Pomodoro technique or Pomodoro method, yeah. I use it still. I use the timer, you know, on my phone, yeah. Do you know it? Who knows it? Okay, good. Okay, so this is just, you set the timer, and you have to complete the task in this time. Yeah, I always use it. I always keep track of the things I do in it makes me more concentrated on the task. So I thought, how can I use this technique in my classroom? And I did. This is my classroom. This is a flat screen TV, and there I have a timer. So every activity I give. So, for example, a warm-up activity or some like the previous one with, for example, if I give this activity, they have to range. I give them like 10 minutes for this. Yeah, I give them 10 minutes. Yeah, and they have to complete, and they see the time. Yeah. And, well, it's a bit different from Pomodoro, but they see the time. And it changes their attitude completely, because they know they're limited in time, and they have to finish in time. Yeah? There's also an element of competition I'm going to talk about later, but they have time limitation. They cannot procrastinate. Yeah? Good. So, Pomodoro method, I use it myself, and I always use it in a classroom for almost all the activities. I time it. Sometimes I even give a student 1 minute and give them tongue twisters, and you have to read tongue twisters in 1 minute. It's kind of Pomodoro method because you're limited in time. Next, motivation. How do I find, when I was learning, I needed a lot of motivation to, when I was learning Chinese. And I tried to came up with a method how to motivate myself, how to practice more, how to exercise more, and well, I came up with a solution. It may be strange. It works for me. It doesn't. You will laugh, but no, you're now laughing. Okay, nice. Okay, so anyway, I have a notepad here. It's mine. So here I write a date, like 11th of May. Here I write the language that I review, like Chinese, and here I write the time, how many, because I use Pomodoro method, I always know how many minutes I spend on the language, yeah? For example, here I have like, it's the total, so this is a day, this is the total. For all these days, I practiced like 900 minutes, not hours, minutes. And this is like 15 hours, guys? 15 hours. So what I do with these 15 hours? So this is 15 hours of practice of the language. So what I do with it? So how can it motivate me? So I transfer this 15 hours into dollars. Yeah, time is money. Yeah. So I have $15, and I here write the money that I earned, and for this money, I can spend this money on my hobby. My hobby used to be sports, now it's board games. So now I use this money to buy board games. Of course, I have money to buy board games, but this allows me. So I practiced enough, I was a good boy, and now I can buy, now I can buy that game. I can afford it to buy. Yeah, I know, you're not laughing. Okay, good. Okay, so we say, so you're paying your kids for practice? No, I'm not paying them. No, they're paying me. Okay, so what shall I do with kids? So I came up actually with a solution, and the solution is following. Yeah, on my whiteboard, I have the list of kids. Right, this is the group. Their names. Right, this is the magnets. The magnets. These are the points. Yeah, the points that they earn in class. So what is this? One sticker. It means, for example, homework. Yeah, one homework. If everybody did homework in the classroom, everybody, yeah, you get 2 stickers, not 1 but 2, because everybody did it, yeah. So it motivates to do everybody, so that the one kid who doesn't, this one didn't, so she was a scapegoat, yeah, because she didn't do homework, and they are motivated. Everybody's motivated. Or for example, if only one student does the homework, yeah, he gets all he gets all the points of the other. So I gamify it, yeah, and at the end of it, I give points for homework, for classroom activities. Like, let's go back to this one. For example, this activity. Who did more words, or who did less mistakes, yeah? Or I give some worksheets, or at the end of a class for Duolingo, for all the stuff. So I try to give points for each activity, yeah? I try to make it competitive. Sometimes it's bad in education, but kids enjoy it, yeah? Adults don't, but yeah. So what I do with these points, yeah? You have, for example, one kid has 2, 3, 0, nothing, 2, 3, and so on. What do I do with this? At the end of the class, when the class is over, okay, I give them stickers, yeah, and I made these stickers myself. This is from the previous year. I'm going to show it. Okay, for example, this means the small one. For example, this is 1 point, right? It's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points. No, this is not for the whole class, just for the whole year, yeah? And they have, for example, they have, this is a Marvel DC, because kids love Marvel. I don't. And they have, for example, to gain this big sticker, 10, yeah? They need these 10, right? They need these Daredevil, then they get this one. They can move higher rank, they level up, and they get to this guy, and then they get, and so on, and it goes from Daredevil to Batman. Yeah, Batman in school, I know. Yeah, so this is the first year, the second year, because the first year I didn't use this system, and this is the second year. The third year I used another thing. I use the stickers. Yeah, I make them myself. I have a printer. I use sticky paper. I print it on them. I cut them out. Yeah, I do it myself. I do everything myself. And this is just this is the info board, so they know which sticker they get, right? They have different characters, the same. They need to get a big mage. Yeah, they need 30 of these, all of 30. Then they go. I have another board. This is in my classroom, and here I stick their names, right, on the board. Yeah, so they know their ranking, and all the kids are divided into 2 fractions according to the World of Warcraft game. This is Alliance and this is Horde, right? So there are 2 opposing teams. Yeah. So let me look closer here. You see some of them crossed, right? It means that if they gain more points, they can kill, like cross out other kids. Yeah? Right? So this is dead. This one is dead. He cannot hit other people. He cannot punch other people. Yeah. This is still alive, right? This is their alliance where they live, and this is a shield. Yeah. A shield means if a person is a leader in Duolingo or in Memrise, yeah, or Close Master, they go under the shield, so they cannot be killed. Yeah. So in this way, they are motivated to do that Duolingo. Now this is the end of the year. Nobody's on the shield, unfortunately. This is an old photo. I'm also not on the shield. Yeah. I lost my Duolingo streak. It was more than 1,000 days. Okay. Okay, good. The next thing, what do we do with homework? How do I decide which homework to do and the amount of homework? So I use again the gamification. I use the dice. Yeah. For example, this is a dice from 1 to 12. If you roll a dice, you can roll 1 or 12. 1, 2, 3, from 1 to 12. Yeah. This is from 1 to 20, and this is from 1 to 30. Yeah, from 1 to 30. So if you did homework, yeah, if you did homework and you did Duolingo, you roll this, right? If you didn't do either Duolingo or homework, you roll a bigger one. So you have a bigger chances to roll like 20, but you still have a chance to roll 1. Yeah, and this one is for 30. It's you did nothing. Yeah, but you came again. You can gain one sentence for homework. Yeah, so this is homework. The homework is the patterns that are like when the weather is cold, I stay at home. Yeah. And cry. This is what they do. So they enjoy the dice. I use it only once because I like board games. Yesterday I was talking about board games. So I implemented this from the board games, right? The chances. So they have the possibility. Sometimes they roll a big one. Sometimes a kid rolls the small one and he rolls 12. Yeah? And the other kid, he did nothing. He did no homework. Yeah? He rolls this, he rolls 30, and he rolls 1. Yeah? And they're laughing at each other, and they have positive emotions. Yeah. By the way, I forgot. At my school, I have very low dropout rate. I don't have almost no dropout students. Okay. Next. And this dice, by the way, everything. I try to make everything interconnected, so everything is gamified. So these dice are connected with this thing. Yeah. So if you have this bigger sticker, for example, you have a bigger, so you earn 30 small ones, and you have the big one, it means you always have -1 homework, -1 sentence. For example, if you have one big sticker, and on this dice, you rolled 3, yeah, and you have -1, you have to do 2. So they are still motivated to get more stickers because it means less homework and they're more relaxed. Yeah, and finally, let me have a look at the time. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about some technical issues and then I'm gonna answer your questions. Hope you have some. First of all, I'm the single teacher, the only person, so I don't need other stuff. It means that I don't need a big room. Yeah, because I'm the only person. Yeah. So I rented a small office, just one room office in the city center. This is how it looks like. This is all what you need. A TV, yeah, a computer. A big table for for all the students, so they sit at one table, not separately, because they do a lot of collective work or teamwork. A small whiteboard, TV, yeah. My table. Okay, I have other pictures here from other angle. Yeah. Yeah, some posters on this, school logo, yeah. My PhD diploma, which I don't use, yeah. Okay, and yeah, the printer, here what I have. Yeah, this is my workspace. You see that I don't have a cleaner. Yeah, I do myself. Yeah, so this is a Scrum board. Okay, who knows what is Scrum? Okay, yeah, usually this is IT thing. So this is a thing how to manage product, how to manage projects, or how to manage tasks. For example, you have here I stick a paper like to do. I have here backlog. It means what I plan to do someday. For example, improve my Chinese or get more sleep. Here I have. To do, it means I have to do urgently, and I move it from here, and then here I have doing, so I'm doing it right now, yeah, I'm in the process, and here I have done, so it's finished, the tasks are done, yeah. There are a lot of them, don't be afraid, they are still in this file, yeah. No, I'm not using it for I'm using for managing, yeah, so just putting a memo just to remember what I have. Yeah. Yes, this is okay. Yeah, this is how it looks from the other field. And just one more thing. Board games. I talked about board games yesterday. Sorry, tomorrow. So this is my board games. I have about 50 of them. Yeah. I couldn't bring all of them to the gathering. I brought only 4. This is a clock. It was made. Yeah. It was a present for me. Just with the time, so they can look and say the time. Usually they can't. Okay, good. I'm gonna check questions or if... Okay, good question. Do you think that all this emphasis on competition can create two groups, the winners and the losers, harming the attitude to learning if the latter will forever? Yeah, good question. Yeah, I cheat. Yeah, I do cheating, of course. I try to balance the teams, but I'm still the referee. Yeah, I know that competition can ruin everything. But sometimes I see that one team is losing and nobody wants to be a loser, of course. And I cheat, I play a bad referee, I give more stickers to that. Or I give secretly some stickers, so the kid cannot get discouraged. Yeah, I know my kids very well, and I know some students care about those stickers, some don't. Yeah, I know them, and I kind of cheat, so it's gonna be always fair. And still, I don't have a very great dropout rate. They come and they literally fight sometimes for the stickers. Yeah, good. How high is your workload in relation to the actual classes preparation? Okay, I usually have 6 hours of classes a day, so I work Monday to Saturday, September to July, so 6 days a week. Yeah, I have approximately 35 classes a week. Yeah, hours of classes a week, and Monday is the most difficult day because I had to do all the preparation. So usually per day I spend 1-2 hours of office job, yeah, of the preparation. Yeah, so we usually spend 9 hours at work in the office. Yeah. Why don't you teach adults? Okay, yeah, this is because first, adults have higher expectations than kids. Yeah, the adults come and they think, oh, you're so cool, you speak so many languages, we pay you money, I charge more, I don't charge a lot, but I charge higher than other students in my town, sometimes 3 times or 4 times higher for one-on-one classes, only one-on-one. I have very expensive one, relatively expensive one-on-one. So they have very high expectations, yeah, and they think like they have like 5 classes and they can speak. No. I try not to. I had some problem with that. Like they attended a few classes and they thought that they would learn language only in class because they thought that they don't need to do homework, they don't need to work alone. Yeah. So no, and they're very difficult to motivate. They don't like stickers. Yeah. I tried. Yeah. Okay. Next. And they're just expecting, and the attitude is different. Like they're expecting to teach, and I know that the language cannot be taught. The language can all be mastered, and then they don't realize it. Yeah, the adults. The kids are different. The kids are not the parents don't expect the kids to learn the language in just overnight. Yeah. Okay. Why did you decide to manage all the hell of a school by yourself and not to collaborate with other teacher peoples? Yeah, okay, I prepared the answer. I was expecting this question. First, why I'm not hiring other teachers. First of all, it's sad I don't trust people. Yeah, I don't. In business. The other thing, I'm a self-made man. All the things I did in my life, I did myself. Yeah, I didn't have a very rich parents. I have a rich father. He never helped me, so I had to do all the things. And it's thanks to him, great thanks to him. He didn't help me. I had to do all the things by myself. Next, and I have a motto in my life: if you want to do something good, do it yourself. Yeah, nobody will do it for you. This is why I'm not hiring a teacher. Yeah. The other thing is direct contact with clients. Yeah, I don't have a manager. I have directly speak with the parent, and the parent trusts me. Yeah, and I'm interested to attract more clients, because if I had a manager, sometimes the managers they're not really interested. They just spend their hours in the office, and this is it. So this is the reason I don't trust people. Next one, network. I do this because some of my clients are the parents of my clients are very well-off people. For example, a city mayor, some doctors, a tax inspector, which is very important in Ukraine to have a tax inspector. Yep. The other thing is why I'm not hiring, because some of the things that I do in the classroom are impulsive. Yeah, it's on the spot. Okay, guys, come on, let's do this. I have a great idea. Eureka, let's do this. Yeah, I didn't prepare this in the class. The idea just came in during the class. Yeah, so not all the teachers are prepared for that. And in my teaching, I set very high standards, so I try to stick to them. And I also have the high standards to the teachers. So no, I'm not planning to hire. Next. Yeah, how do you determine whether the topic has to be reviewed? Do you do it after a specific length of time? Yeah, I need to have some kind of a program which reminds me how to review. No, I do it myself, and this is the problem. I'm not into programming. Well, I need some men to do this for me, but again, I try to do things by myself. Yeah, so next. How to explain to a 10-year-old what AIDS is in English? It's strange, but some of the kids knew. They didn't have to. Explain. Some of them knew. Perhaps they read it on the condom. I hope not. Okay. Are you working? How many hours per week are you working, including preparation and managing the school? So I mentioned this is 35 hours of classes, and only of classes, and office hours, probably more than 40, 50. I'm not counting. How big are the groups? Do you give any one-to-one classes? Groups are from 6 to 8. They grow every year. They grow because I cannot handle all the students, so every year they grow. Do you give anyone one-to-one classes? Yeah, I do, only in Chinese and in IELTS preparation, because when I don't have, or the student is very strong, he's very high level, or is very or he is very low level, or if he's very rich, yeah, then I take one-on-one. Yeah, I'm kidding. Yeah. How do you remember how much homework a student has if they all roll different amounts? I don't know. Of course, I don't remember this. What the hell? I need to remember the amounts of that. No, I have a student, a secretary, let's call it, and he writes every amount. Like he has a name, and that student writes a name. I trust kids more than adults. Let's say this. Do you include picture descriptions and YouTube videos? Of course, yeah. I like YouTube. YouTube is a great resource for learning any language. What I do then, for example, we play a lot of board games. Sometimes I give them instructional. I have a Viber group for each study group, and there I post some stuff and including the videos. Yeah, and they have to, sometimes there is such activity as it's called. I call it bullshit bingo, but it's not bullshit. But it's bingo. I ask them. I give them a YouTube video. I give them a phrase, like a phrase from this video, and they have to listen and find the time. Send me the time. The first person to tell me the correct time of that phrase or that sentence gets a sticker. Was it like starting a business? Was it immediate success? How can people find any about this unique English method? Okay, yeah, it was. Because why did I start the English school? Because I couldn't handle one-on-one students. I had like 20 or 30, and then I decided like, okay, I need to make English more accessible for other students. So yeah, it was. I started with 50 students, and I grew into 100. I cannot grow more than 100 because I'm getting older. Yeah, it's difficult. Next. What's the step you took when you decided to start a language school? What's the step? I stepped forward. I don't know. I had nothing to lose. I didn't have a job. I knew I would earn like some money for living. Yeah. And yeah, this is another thing strange because I'm quite a well-off person for Ukraine and for yeah. And recently I just bought a new car, completely new car, rather expensive for Ukraine. And people are coming to me and say, "Oh, you have a nice car. What do you do?" I say, "I'm a teacher." I say, "Really? You're a teacher? You have this car? You're a teacher?" I say, "Yeah," because in Ukraine it's different. The teachers usually low paid; they cannot afford it. I say, "Yeah, I work a lot." Yeah, so yeah. Next, do you teach in the morning as well or only part-time? No, this is my full-time. I don't teach in the morning. In the morning, I try to learn the languages. This is the biggest disadvantage for me as an owner of the school. Yeah, I teach English. I teach it like 6 hours a day. I use it. I speak it the whole day. And then when I come back home in the evening, I have time to learn a language, yeah, some other language, but again, it's this language. So my work is language, and my hobby is language, and this is a problem. I spend a lot of energy. Yeah, I have energy, for example, to go to the gym, but I don't have energy to go and learn languages. Okay, this has disappeared. Just all the questions. Where are they? I hope I answered all the questions. If you have any other further questions, yes.
What is the balance between male and female students in general?
Sorry?
Male and female students.
There are more male students, and this you may not like it, but I think it's my position that male students are better comprehending, but they're lazier. Men are usually lazier, but female students, they learn better because they're more hardworking. Yeah. Okay, if you have any other questions, please address me. I'm open to answer any other questions. I mean, some technical issues. If you really want to open a school, come, because I haven't answered many questions. Feel free to contact me here at the gathering. I'm going to be here till Sunday. Yeah, feel free to approach me. Thank you for coming. Have a nice dinner. Thank you. Thank you.